Monday's edition of The Big Show on your total sports station, KTGR. Andy Humphrey, Brendan Schaefer here. Hope you have dug out from your winter wonderland. Yeah, that's 6 inches, it seems, in mid-Missouri this weekend, which, hey, enjoyed it. Wasn't too bad. Hope it wasn't too bad for you, Brendan.
More than that out my way, but I'll leave the house tomorrow. It's fine.
Hey, I left the house several times this weekend, actually. It worked out.
All right.
Hey,
all right.
But
I'm not that brave, but eventually I'll do it.
Either way, we're going to have some fun after that snowy weekend. One that featured not one, but 2 Mizzou basketball buzzer beaters in the same game. Oh, my
gosh.
Oh, boy.
Incredible stuff. Incredible stuff.
That one we'll discuss in just a few minutes. We'll also discuss the Super Bowl matchup. Patriots, Seahawks, the ways that it got there, maybe some coaching gaffes that led to it as well. And,
I think so.
And then we'll get to what we think about the matchup now between New England and Seattle, a redux of not too long ago. And we'll talk about it coming up here a little later on the show, 525. We'll also discuss Cayden Lee. It's official. Committed to Mizzou football. There we go. So big addition to the wide receiver group, what it means for Mizzou. And it kind of winds down the transfer portal stuff for Mizzou football at the moment. We'll see if they add any more, but this might be their group. Let us know what you think about the group at 875-KTGR. You can also tweet us at KTGR Big Show. We're live on YouTube and Facebook right now, youtube.com/@KTGR Sports and Facebook.com/KTGR Big Show.
Now, the Big Show's Big Deal.
Pierce moving to his right, gets it into Barrett, curls it, comes into the front court, leaves it for Pierce, deep three from the logo. Good! We're tied at 81 as he bangs it home from the logo. Mitchell comes left to right, Mitchell across half court. Mitchell puts up a three-pointer, good! And Missouri wins it in overtime on a Mark Mitchell three-pointer. The Tigers, kid from Kansas City, knocks it down from 3.
Not 1, but 2 buzzer beaters for Mizzou basketball Saturday. Trent Pierce tied it. Mark Mitchell won it. The Tigers got an 88-87 victory over Oklahoma. One they really needed to stay in the hunt for an NCAA tournament bid, but they got it. 4-3 in the SEC, 14-6 overall. They're at Alabama tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. That's the Big Show's big deal on this 26th day of January 2026, 875-KTGR. Just a note, that's an updated tip time from earlier. It was originally scheduled for 8 p.m. tomorrow. It is now 7 p.m. for Mizzou at Alabama. Coverage will start at 6:30 tomorrow night here on KTGR. But that was fun.
And I believe, by the way, the reason they had to move up the tip time, you might be thinking, oh, it's because of weather.
Yeah.
No, it's because Charles Bediaco, an older gentleman, he's got a bedtime, and they have to make sure to get it in before he gets too sleepy.
That's, well,
like
fair.
That one?
I mean, anything for Bediaco.
Pretty much.
As the saying is known.
That's what the courts have said anyway.
That hearing
Tuscaloosa County. Yeah.
We'll see. That judge is going to rule tomorrow on his eligibility status going forward, it would seem, for the rest of the semester, season, I suppose.
Forever. I don't know.
Yeah,
nothing's really forever in college. You can always come back.
Or exactly. You can play forever, as we have seen. But that's tomorrow's problem, I suppose. Let's talk about how this one happened. Oh, boy. Now, there are some folks I know out there that are frustrated, like, man, Mizzou needed 2 buzzer beaters just to beat Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, to a degree, yes, but they needed a win. Like that,
right?
They got the win, and no one will remember that it was just a 1-point win coming up in March when the resumes are being laid out.
I don't know. I don't think that's going to be an easy one to forget the way they did it. But to your point, it doesn't matter. It's still a win.
Yeah.
It's not going to be punished for it, you know?
No, not really. I mean, they've largely stayed the same in the metrics. They rose up a little bit, I think, in the net, maybe dropped a spot in KenPom, but no real changes for how the game went and how it was supposed to go. No, Mizzou did not cover the spread. No, they didn't look particularly good. They shot only 29% from three, and OU shot 44%. Here's the thing. I mean, it typically in a college basketball game, one team shoots awesome from three and the other team shoots poorly. The awesome team is going to win a lot of the time. It's pretty notable that you can be the team that didn't shoot all that well from the outside and won a bunch of other categories to pull out a win in that situation, because Mizzou out-rebounded them. Mizzou got to the free throw line a bunch, shot pretty well from the free throw line, and inside the arc, we're still pretty good. It didn't turn it over more than OU did. That was even. I mean, and through all that, in a very lopsided metric, OU getting a whole bunch of points from outside, Mizzou was still able to overcome and find a way to win. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was not the way you draw it up necessarily, but I don't think that we can complain about that given the way that it went down and the chaos surrounding it. It was a lot of fun. It's okay to have fun from a home win where the crowd that was able to make it out under the conditions got to see something special. Not one, but two buzzer beating threes. I don't know that I've ever recalled something like that happening. So yeah, we could talk about, okay, what does it mean for them moving forward that they were only able to get the win by those means? But that feels like a tomorrow problem as well, right? Like if they play the way they played against Oklahoma and they do that against Alabama, yeah, it's probably going to be ugly, but you get a reprieve, right? After a game like that, you get the opportunity to wipe the slate clean because whatever you may have done wrong, whatever may have not gone the way you wanted it to in that game, you weren't punished for it. So you get a chance to kind of wipe the slate and say, let's learn from what we can with that one and try to be a little more consistent around the shot making. Really is the number one thing, but just, play a more consistent game and hope for the best in the next one. I'm not going to really have a negative word to say about it because the fun overshadowed any of the stuff that I was mad about. Well, those two buzzer beaters.
Definitely a lot of fun. And the players that stepped up to make it happen. I mean, Trent Pierce hadn't hit a field goal all day, but he does there, and he hits a three.
Hardly played. I mean, I would complain about that a little bit. I don't know. The rotations were very, very weird in this game, in my opinion.
Yeah, everybody who was healthy and not redshirt and got in the game, which is not a new thing. I mean, it's something that, sure, it's odd. I don't know why it happens that way, but it happened.
And the guys that came in for their 3 to 5 minutes just didn't look like sharp. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what purpose it served other than, everybody getting a participation award. Luke Northweather, I know he used to play for Oklahoma, and so that was maybe like the scholarship opportunity for him. He was brutalized on 3 straight possessions, or it was like 3 out of 4. And he was only in the game for 3 minutes, and that's pretty much all he did was just get beat like a drum on the defensive end. And those possessions matter in the end. Like if Mizzou loses by a possession because they don't knock down one of those threes, I look back at the Northweather stuff and go, what were we doing? Well, is it worth losing a game over because he used to play for the team? Like, I don't know, but that maybe I lied. I found something to complain about. It didn't take long. That was weird, but it's not the end of the world because they won. See, I'm back on track.
Okay, all right. I mean, here's the thing. Notable change to begin the game. T.O. Barrett started the game.
Loved it.
And that proved to be the right choice.
Yes.
For how both he and Anthony Robinson are playing at this exact moment. And then Barrett is out there for 39 of the 45 minutes played.
Love it. Yes.
And he lived up to it. Like, he was an offensive threat. He doesn't have a shot. I think people know that, but he can still
drive
the game offensively. Absolutely.
He can drive the basketball and he can pass it. And that's enough. That's enough to where, we talked about Mizzou at times in the half court just looking stagnant, not necessarily in the last couple of weeks, but just in general under Gates, we don't see enough motion in that half court set, right? They've kind of adopted a little bit of a different presence this year where they're able to play a little bit of a slower tempo and be comfortable in that. But I want a guy that can handle the ball and more often than not is going to know what to do with it when it's in his hands. And that's T.O. Barrett. So the fact that he played as much as he did, I thought was fantastic. And I'll say this, I think the Anthony Robinson off the bench thing can potentially spark his game a little bit as well. Kind of give him the kick in the rear to, when he comes in, be more mindful of, just what he's out there to do. And I thought he had some kind of spark plug moments when he entered off the bench in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, you'll look at the box score and it's not glowing for what he had. I'd like to see him still, when he's only playing 17 minutes, stay out of foul trouble, because if you are playing well enough, then Gates will still want the option to use you late. And I think that was kind of taken out of his hands because Robinson had 4 fouls. And so he had to put a different guy out there. So for me, it all comes down to efficiency for him, because recently it just has not been there. And point guards have to be all about efficiency and how they are using their movements to kickstart the offense. And right now, T.O. Barrett is the guy right now that is best doing that.
He's the answer.
Yeah, he at least earned another start at Alabama. He should fully expect that he'll be in the starting lineup once again. And look, as well as he keeps playing, even if Anthony Robinson starts playing well, T.O. Barrett might not play poorly enough to give up the job, right?
That's what you hope happens, right? You hope that it kind of forces the issue to where you then have the luxury of 2 guys that can handle the basketball, and you're happy to see both. And I don't mind both of them being out there at the same time. I don't know that they have fully come into a place where they're maximizing that, but I think that's something that will come with time. And I think T.O. Barrett just playing all the minutes is something I would be in favor of, even though, like you said, probably more due to foul trouble for Robinson that ended up materializing the way that it did. I don't mind it. I think it ends up being, you could figure out the rotation around him, but let him be the constant. Look, are there things that I would love to see in those clutch final 5.5 seconds? We kind of had another instance where, the pressure at half court flummoxes Barrett. He ends up airborne, which was okay, because I think there was a consideration that Oklahoma would foul there at the end of regulation. And there, it's a 3-point game. And so he's about at half court. Doesn't really have a perfect situation, but if they're going to foul him, he goes airborne to be able to feign a shot attempt.
Well, I thought he did well at drawing both defenders away from Pierce, who was the trailer there, and it made them kind of forget about Pierce. And look, he still had a long shot to get there, but there was barely anyone around him. It was straight on. I thought it was about as good as you could have hoped for.
Yeah, I would love to think that there could, they're going to pressure you at the half court to be able to, tick some more time down. And we've had 2 instances in the past. I'm not even going to count the Mark Mitchell one, because that was just chaotic at the end, and it ends up getting basically a spot up from the side of the arc. Perfect opportunity, the most you could hope for. He's probably not the guy you want shooting it, but say that after the game and the way that it went, you love that opportunity. But I would love to think that in 5.5 seconds, they would be able to matriculate a little further down the court. But given what it was, that both defenders are drawing to Barrett, he has to figure out, are they going to foul me? Because if so, I need to be ready to, hoist a shot. They're not fouling him. He sees Pierce open and passes the basketball. Did about as well as he could, right? Given where you were at about 3 seconds to go. Beggars can't be choosers. They found a way to get an open look, but just not a really close one. And they end up knocking it down. But everything else that T.O. Barrett did in the game, for the most part, I just really I trust him. I trust it throughout the course of the 40 minutes for him to make majority really good decisions with the basketball. And he can create his own look. Not a shot maker necessarily, but he can create by driving the lane. And if they dare to foul him, he's a pretty good free throw shooter. And more times than not, he's going to put in an acrobatic shot off the glass that finds a way to get Mizzou 2 points. It's a lot of fun. There are times this year where I've said this is not a fun team to watch. I enjoy watching T.O. Barrett play basketball.
He's really grown up for sure. And in a short amount of time, and Mizzou has needed it. On the thought of fouling up 3, Porter Mosier after the game did mention that it went through his head of whether he should do it or not.
He took some flack on social media, by the way, from just people around the game saying, "Oh, what are you doing, Porter?"
His explanation afterwards was the new rule this year, the continuation rule. And he has seen it across the rest of college basketball, teams fouling up 3, but maybe getting the ruling, the team that was fouled, getting the ruling that the player was in the act of shooting, because they are giving a few more continuations.
A little more NBA-esque in that regard.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what
T.O. Barrett looks like an expert at being able to take advantage of that type of situation.
Yeah.
Just the way that he's able to move so fluidly. I wouldn't be surprised if that were a strength of his game, if it ever came to that.
which I think I would imagine it was probably told to him in the huddle, like, hey, if they're around you, maybe start to at least raise up. And if they foul you, try and put it up. Like that.
I think that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
Like when he makes the pass to Pierce, he goes airborne as though to just kind of gauge what the defenders are going to do, because you have that kind of time clock in your mind where you're going, all right, they're not going to foul me just yet. Okay, now if they're going to do it, it'll be right here. I need to go up, and then that gives me the ability. Because once he kind of raises up, they can't really foul him because it's going to be very easy for him to say, oh, I was in the act of shooting. So they kind of have to back off a hair, and then in the moment, he's able to see that Pierce is open and pass the ball to him.
It's interesting now how coaches will play it. I still think that fouling in that situation, as long as you know how to do it at the right spot,
what is the right
help
spot?
you.
That's what I was going to ask you. I agree they should have fouled, but let's dive into that.
Maybe now you don't wait until they cross into the front court, and
what's the point?
You foul in the back court,
foul them,
and you give them either the 2 free throws, or like if it's a side out, they're probably still in the back court, and at that point, inbounder can't move around. He's got to be in a spot. So like that could still be beneficial to you. But again, I haven't seen the situations across the rest of college basketball where a team was trying to do this and it backfired on them because they called the continuation and they got 3 shots instead of 2. But again, I would think that fouling up 3 is still the sound strategy, just maybe not as cut and dry as it used to be.
Genuinely, I think there's a better chance of one guy taking over the game with a miracle 3, the way that Trent Pierce did. I think there's a better chance of that happening than you foul immediately. I know there'd still be 5 seconds left, but just extend the game. If you're Oklahoma, you foul immediately. Ideally, you foul somebody before they even touch the basketball, because you don't want T.O. Barrett to get to shoot the free throws. But even if he gets to, then you make Mizzou decide. First of all, he has to make the first one, which he missed a couple of free throws in the game. Secondly, you have to decide, are we going to miss or are we going to just play this out and trust your own team to be able to make free throws? I think you foul well before they get to half court, before that notion of I'm going to be able to aim for this continuation can even come into play. I'm certainly glad that they did not. I was surprised that they did not. And obviously Moser had a reason for why, but I don't know if I really agree with it, because we see, buzzer beater 3 is a thing that can happen. It takes one guy dialing one up and getting kind of lucky, but also just burying it.
Yeah.
There's not as many things that have to go right for Missouri to extend the game as would be make a free throw, make another one, foul, Oklahoma misses one of their free throws, then you still have a long shot attempt, or, intentionally missing a free throw. I just feel like those types of things are a lot more difficult to have go right for the team that's trailing when you have to get into how am I going to miss this free throw. I don't think that's something that probably gets practiced as much or executed at a very high level as it potentially could. So that would, again, for me watching it, I was really obviously glad that they did not foul, but I thought it was maybe a blunder there.
875 KTGR, your thoughts on Mizzou pulling it out against Oklahoma on Saturday with 2 buzzer beaters from Trent Pierce and Mark Mitchell. Daniel says on the texter, we absolutely saved our season with that madness. Porter Moser should have fouled, and I'm so glad he didn't. Couldn't afford to lose that game. Barrett is getting better every game. Did they save their season with this?
They gave themselves the opportunity to do so, because I think if you lose that game, Andy, we're not really talking about how plausible a tournament bid or you lost to Oklahoma at home off the heels of a Georgia loss at home, where Georgia's a pretty good team, but they did get popped by Texas over the weekend. Like, you're not defending home court anymore to the bottom of the barrel in the conference. It's over. That's kind of the way that I would have felt about things. Like, we would have continued to go into each game hoping they could surprise us. But now it's like, all right, is that an indicator that Missouri is not as close consistently as we want them to be? The fact that they had to go to those lengths to beat Oklahoma at home? Yeah, maybe. But it is an any given day kind of league where these results happen across the course of a season. So to just not have that punish you, to have the way that they didn't play at their best be a punisher is, it gives them the chance to save their season. I still think it's going to take in a game against a team that's better than them, that's a resume booster, it's going to take maybe another one of those types of wins, maybe not quite that crazy with 2 buzzer beaters, but they're continuing to play it out. They didn't make the fatal mistake that I think they're in the next 4 out, Andy, when you look at different bracketologies and they always flash it on the screen throughout the weekend. They wouldn't even be in consideration if you lose a game like that. So, hey, they're still in the mix. That's all you can really ask for right now.
Right now, I mean, maybe not at the exact moment, but for the rest of the season, Mizzou does need to focus upon not allowing their worst loss of the year or the bad loss that they flash up on there, adding no more of those. Because there aren't very many opportunities to pick those up. There's one this weekend against Mississippi State. That is a must-have for Mizzou.
Can't lose it.
You're hosting them. It's not even a quad 2 game. It's quad 3. You need that one.
Don't win that by a point, please. Don't win that in overtime.
Win that one soundly. At South Carolina is another one. You play Mississippi State again at their place. You play Oklahoma
win all 3 of those
at their place.
And I would say if you lose at Oklahoma, not great, but you got to win at least 3 of those 4 as we're talking about them.
I think so. I mean, and then the rest of them could be resume boosters, right? Like maybe not your best win. Clearly your best win right now is Florida. I don't know if you can top it with most everything there. You can add to it though. Vanderbilt would
Auburn's
be nice.
A good win.
Auburn's a good win.
Auburn beat Florida at Florida. So
very true.
And keep rooting for Kentucky too. I mean,
Kentucky's still in there as well. It's a very good one. I mean, Mizzou's got some pelts. They just need, and they'll have several chances to add a few more.
Now you need the volume. You just need to get to that 10 win total, because I think if you do, you will look back and see the number of pelts, as you said. Like, wow, man, they went 10-8. We didn't have a non-conference, but you know what? They did beat Kentucky at Kentucky. They did beat Florida. They did beat Auburn. The other ones are resume for, but I think more than anything, it's just about getting to a counting number of 10. Because I think if they do that, they're at least going to be in the conversation as they head into the SEC tournament.
Yeah, and then once you get there at 10-8, win a game there. I think that does kind of help your chances quite a bit. But
Always
I think
helps.
if you do, then you should be in. It's so hard to know, though, and
long way to go.
The line is going to be moving so much between now and mid-March, and we just don't know what other teams are going to do in other conferences. But this was a win that, again, like it keeps you afloat, and this would have sunk you a little bit more and made it a lot tougher.
We're not talking about the line if you lose this game, because there's nothing left that would lead you to believe 10-8 was particularly likely if you're losing those types of games.
Roger's on the KTGR hotline, wants to talk Mizzou hoops. Roger, what you got?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the play that tied the game.
Yeah.
That was the same play that Villanova used to win the national championship. You throw in, you go up the sidelines, you hit the throw-in person back for the shot, and it was exactly like Gates drew it up. And probably people didn't understand that he said he called the play. That is the Villanova play that won the national championship. Throw-in guy gets the shot.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate the call, Roger, here on the Big Show KTGR. Like, look, again, that's almost the best option, is that defenders will sometimes forget about the inbounder. It matters who is putting the ball in play just as much as who might be bringing it up the floor. And I think it was helpful that I can't remember who called the timeout there. I think it might have been Oklahoma, actually, right after they took the lead by 3, pushed the lead to 3 with the 2 free throws. So, I mean, Gates got a chance to go over it, and they did pretty well with it. And I think
they didn't quite execute it like Villanova. The player that had the assist on the Jenkins 3 in that game was almost at the 3-point line himself and was able to basically pass it backwards. Or in this instance, Tio Barrett was under a little bit more duress. But they don't ask you how, they ask how many, and that was worth 3. And so they went to overtime and kept it alive. What about the Mitchell shot, though? That was more chaotic, right? You didn't have time to kind of draw up your ideal, but they operated with urgency, and they got the ball into somebody's hand who got an open-ish look pretty close to, standard 3-point distance, was able to pull up and into his shot. That was awesome, and that's what Mark Mitchell does, man. I don't want Mark Mitchell shooting the 3 during most portions of the game, but I'll be darned if he doesn't come up with some clutch ones from time to time, and there's none bigger than that one in his career.
It was good to see him bounce back from that, because they ran a play for him in regulation to try and take the lead. That was right before the free throws by OU to push it to 3.
Just kind of kind of bungled it.
Like it was a good look. It's exactly the guy that you want to push it into, but just couldn't quite get it to fall. And then he comes back and in a helter-skelter moment is able to come up with a huge shot. And yeah, like you can nitpick that it shouldn't have come down to that. Whatever. It was fun. It was what Mizzou needed. And now they can talk more about what their state of the on being on the bubble is and who has them in, who has them out, things like that. And so they'll take their shot against Alabama tomorrow and see if they're actually playing Charles Bediako or not. Probably will be, but again, tomorrow's problem.
Yeah. By the way, the shot there at the end was coming up, the game goes into overtime. It was coming up right to the end of nap time at our house. And so I was like, let's go see if Gabe wants to watch the end. We've got like a minute left in overtime. And immediately he's like, yeah. So he was sitting there with me after the shot, and it was, obviously awesome. Spent the rest of the weekend, since we didn't leave the house, pretending. He goes, Dad, who am I? I said, you said you're going to be Mark Mitchell. And so he was Mark Mitchell in our living room the rest of the weekend. So Mark Mitchell, I mean, the legend grows when it comes to when you make a shot like that, kids want to be you. Kids want to be like you. So that's kind of the way the rest of the weekend went at our house on the little Tykes hoop.
That's awesome. 875-5847. I call or text. So he was dunking on the hoop and everything like that.
He refused to dunk because it was a 3-pointer. So he refuses to go. He has to go. He said, no, Dad, I want to go far. And so he goes, like, I'll pass it to him. He's wide open, like literally nobody guarding him at the rim. But then he brings it back out to the top of the key because he wants to be like Mark Mitchell.
I'm assuming no arc on the shot.
There's a little bit of arc, but yeah, it's kind of a line drive approach these days for the 3-year-old. So he really is, he's taken after his heroes. That's all I can say.
Hey, he'll work on it. He'll develop it. He'll get there. Call or text us with what you think about Mizzou hoops after that win on Saturday, 875-5847. We'll talk about the championship games from yesterday in the NFL. Were there any coaching gaffes there that really stood out and maybe affected the outcome? We'll get to that next.
Follow The Big Show on Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube. And keep it here on your total sports station, KTGR.
As we get into the heart of basketball season, 1851 Underground Tap and Grill wants to remind you, whether you need a place to grab a bite after a local high school or college game, or you want to plop down with some friends and watch some of that college conference action on TV, they've got a spot for you. Your favorite cold beer or cocktail and delicious appetizer or dinner options on the menu. Check them out on Facebook or at 1851underground.com. It's no secret that it is underground. 1851 Underground Tap and Grill in the historic Brick District, downtown Fulton.
Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for Lee's Tire Company. That is where I go for all things tires. When I needed new tires on my 4 wheels, it was finally time. I had held out long enough. I went to Lee's Tire Company because they're the experts in mid-Missouri. They've got such a large selection. They probably have it in stock if you go and show up. And they also have a full catalog online that you can shop for tires there, find the specific one that's right for you, and get a great deal on it. They run specials each and every month to help put money back in your pocket. So look, it's wintertime. Going to be some slick roads here in our near future. So head into Lee's Tire Company if you want to change out and get snow tires, or if you want just some all-weather tires that you can use year-round. Head into Lee's Tire Company. They've got a location on the Business Loop in Columbia, a larger location at University Garage by the MU campus. They're also located in Centralia. And, of course, shop online anytime at leestirecompany.com. If it's round and rubber, Lee sells it. leestirecompany.com.
Hi, my name's Robin Fletcher. I've smoked for 46 years. I went to a seminar in March of 27 and seen Mark. My best friend came with me. We both went to it, and neither one of us smoked a cigarette in almost 7.5 months. I took my 3 sisters and my brother-in-law and my sister's best friend and them went. None of them have smoked a cigarette, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
My name is Jen Carpenter. I went to a Mark Patrick seminar, the Stop Smoking, and it worked. A friend of mine also went, and he still no longer smokes, and it was just amazing.
Lose weight or stop smoking with Hypnosis Guaranteed, only $59.99 or your money back. Don't just cut down, but stop smoking once and for all or your money back. Stop Smoking Hypnosis, 8 p.m. on Tuesday, February 3rd at the Capitol Plaza Hotel and Convention Center in Jefferson City, or 8 p.m. on Wednesday, February 4th at the Holiday Inn, Columbia East in Columbia. Registration 30 minutes before. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
You know your favorites. Now it's time to put them on the map. Nominations are open for Inside Columbia Magazine's Best of Columbia 2026. Now through March 1st. Nominate the businesses and places you love, including Best Mexican Food, Best Spa, Best Steak, Best Hairstylist, Best Lawn Care, and more. You can nominate once per day. So come back and support the businesses you love most. Best of Columbia 2026 starts with you. Nominate today at InsideColumbia.net.
Okay, the limb is hanging over the driveway. I need this pruned.
Oh, call the electrician.
An electrician?
Yeah, or maybe your HVAC guy.
You've officially lost it. I need an expert in the right field.
Fine. Call that lawn company. They mow and prune.
Yeah, they also scalped your yard last summer.
When it comes to trees, trust the experts who actually know trees. Ones that are trained and educated for pruning, planting, and removals done right. Call Eric at Advanced Tree Solutions, your tree's best friend. AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com.
Back to more of the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. You've got The Big Show on the KTGR app.
I will say kudos to everyone involved with putting the games on, and then also the fans that showed up to the games this weekend. You had reason not to, obviously, with the weather, but you still did. And so hats off to all those folks. I mean, the game ops crew, the folks at the concessions and everything like that, getting in to provide everything for the fans who that came by as well. I actually went ahead and took the family to the women's basketball game yesterday, which was very nice. And so, I mean, even though it wasn't all that highly attended in either side, I thought the men's one was pretty good considering the circumstances.
TV made it seem like it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the women's game, a little bit lighter attended, but and kind of a later game too, but still, I thought very well done for everybody involved to get them in. Wrestling also got both their duels in. So well done all around, Mizzou Athletics.
And women's hoops getting the win. I mean, that makes it better for those who made the decision to head on out. So that's a lot of fun. Anytime you can defend home court and do so for the fans that are there, that was a good weekend.
They did well to get that win, and we'll see if they can try to get on a run here. Definitely need to scoop up a few more SEC wins in Kelly Harper's first year. So their next chance won't be for another week. They'll have Mississippi State on the road Sunday. 875-KTGR if you want to give us a call or a text. Also yesterday, Patriots and Seahawks punched their ticket.
Yep.
And I'd say everybody is talking about Sean Payton's decision to go for 4th and 1 with, 9 minutes left in the first half. They're up 7-0. They're inside the Patriots 20, and they don't kick it. They decide to go for the first down on 4th and 1. Right decision, wrong call. What do you think?
I never really want to fault a coach for saying my team can get a yard, and that's the way we're going to try to get to the Super Bowl. Like, it was early. You're already up, and so you're kind of tempting fate a little bit because if it doesn't go your way, okay, now they can tie it on us, and it's kind of a new game. That's not even really what happened, though, right? The reason they end up getting the game tied was because of a blunder by Stidham, and maybe Tyler Bidet a little bit. Like, they tried to run that screen to Bidet a couple of times in a row, and it's like Beatty couldn't get around the lineman a couple times, and I think it caused Stidham to second guess what he was doing on that play that was ultimately ruled a backward pass. I'm not going to kill Sean Payton for that because my stance is generally get a yard, but it also would have been very tempting to go up 10-0 because that is a spot on the field, Andy, where you can say, I will allow you to say, take the points, because it hadn't started snowing yet, and it was a short enough field goal compared to if we talk about last night's game. Do you take the points when you're Sean McVay and it would have been like a 50-yarder? Now, with Harrison Mevis, yes, it would be the points because he's not going to miss. But Sean McVay, again, I don't know how many weeks I've said this, does not know who his kicker is. But on the Peyton thing, I will start there. I didn't really have a problem with it, but I understand why in retrospect you can look at it and say, oh boy, that might have really cost him.
What I don't like is the jocks out there that say, well, you're just doing it because the analytics told you so. Actually, the analytics said to kick.
Did they really?
Yeah,
wow.
like to take the points there and go up 10-0 and do that.
Interesting.
So, I mean, here's the thing. I kind of think go for it was the right move there too. And it's not even to say a field goal at the end of that drive would have been a bad outcome.
Right.
I just think you maybe push a little bit further to get a 2-touchdown lead, but a 2-score lead is not going to be awful either. I think I would have been okay with trying to get that first down, and at the very least, you're bleeding out a little more clock to then eventually take your 2-score lead and go up 10 or whatever and do that.
Yeah, I don't know if I value the clock as much as, like, if you're going to kick, go at any point, go ahead and do it. If I get that first down, I'm going for the next fourth down too, unless it's like we get sacked and it's 4th and 8 or something. What about this aspect of it? It was jarring to see as they showed like the time lapse of the stadium as the snow came in.
Oh, yeah.
Does the weather factor in? Because as a head coach, surely you had to know that was coming. I didn't know, but I was at home watching it on my couch. I think knowing that, hey, there are reports that the second half could get a little swirly, that would be a reason to go ahead and take the points while you still can, because later on they tried a field goal from 44 yards or whatever it was, and it gets tipped because you have to try to kick that low line drive in the snow. That would be the one caveat I would offer, because generally I am all about get a yard. If my team can't get a yard, we don't really deserve it. But knowing the way the second half devolved into just an utter mess where Vrabel was basically content to just run the ball 3 times and punt because he figured that the other team wasn't going to be able to score. Field goals weren't going in, and good luck trying to get all the way to the end zone. Because of the way that it went, I guess that's a reason to look back and say, ooh, definitely just get the points while you still can, while they're still easy to come by. But watching from home, I wasn't aware of that. I should hope that Sean Payton was, and he considered that in all of the decision-making and just ended up saying, let's be aggressive.
Yeah, Billy.
Obviously much lower stakes, but I remember a couple of years ago, Missouri was playing at Arkansas. Drinkwitz kicked it on a 4th and goal from the 3 after going for it on the first possession to go up 10-0. And they asked him about it post-game, and he was like, for me, once you have momentum in a game, keeping that is what's important to me. And there was, in a normal situation, I wouldn't be against going for it on 4th and 1. But, man, you started so fast. The crowd was in it. Drake Mays on his first start in the road. Like, I just felt like being able to take that 2-possession lead would have been so nice in a situation like that. And obviously, if you knew what was going to happen in the second half, how much it would shut down, I really did have a problem with it even before the play, them going for it, purely for that reason. You have the momentum at home in a game where your quarterback's out. I would have taken the 2-score lead.
Yeah, he kind of played it as though he saw enough from Stidham to be like, this guy's going to get us there. You know what I mean? Like, he hits Mims for the bomb, and like that wasn't realistic. He had a lot of confidence in Stidham, clearly, and maybe the way that Stidham started and looked good, like he threw the one screen to Mims and missed him, but kind of had a grin on his face after, like it's all going to be fine. And then he hits Mims on the bomb on the next play, and you're feeling like, oh my gosh, did we even downgrade from Bo Nix for this game? That was probably what cost him, because he's getting pretty confident and haughty, believing that Stidham's going to be able to execute that 4th and 1 or whatever they're going to run, just the way that Bo Nix might. When in reality, if Bo Nix is out there, Bo Nix is running the ball on 4th and 1 more often than not, and you're probably going to get it. So, yeah, maybe the fact that Stidham had a hot start kind of got Sean Payton feeling himself a little bit and decides to go for the aggressive route, which, yeah, I love this one, Andy and Billy, because I could see both sides, and I don't usually come away saying that about something. I can feel pretty strongly. And this one, I'm like, oh man, great point by Billy. Also, get a damn yard. So
right,
that's where I come down. It's like I could see both ways on this one.
It is fascinating. There's a lot of Monday morning quarterbacking on it, I think, but I think it very easily could go either way.
I think there should be more Monday morning quarterbacking on McVay. I thought he was terrible last night.
Wow.
I mean,
okay.
It's not even like some people are going back and saying he should have kicked to make it 31-30 on that 4th and 4. Absolutely not.
No,
like,
man.
The way that drive was going, I didn't love the fact that they just didn't seem to get anybody open. I think that was the Ferguson attempt, and it just didn't. The drive just died on him, which was really unfortunate to see. But I don't have a problem with that. I just thought time management consideration at the end. I don't know why he's not challenging immediately on the Cooper Kupp spot.
So that's a hard one. That's a hard
For
one
me,
to be.
I know he's probably trying to conserve time and make sure he gets the 2-minute warning to his advantage. But if you see him catch that and then kind of drop it, your first inclination shouldn't be timeout, timeout, timeout. It's to throw the challenge flag because it's 2:25 on the clock anyway. You're not going to be able to challenge again. There's not going to be another play where you go, oh boy, I wish I had my challenge. You're burning the timeouts to kill the clock.
It's so tough. I am mostly, I think he was eaten up by the rule there because he called timeout and then I think he wanted to challenge.
He did,
but
and I think he could have. I don't agree.
Well,
Go
he
ahead.
could have, but he would have had to spend another timeout, and he didn't want to have none left at that point. So
this is something that Dan Campbell has done before. You just challenge it. Just if it looks even remotely, I mean, you have to be watching that and going, oh, Cooper Kupp caught that. Yeah, kind of near the line to game. Challenge. And then that's it. That's the instinct is just throw the flag because the clock's going to stop if you're wrong, right? If you're wrong, it's the same function, but they'll give all the time that they need. And frankly, in a perfect world, it shouldn't go that way. In the world of expedited review and all these things, they should just get it right if they have the ability to do it. But I feel as though they were kind of punishing McVay to say, we're not, we're not going to do a review on this. I thought Kupp was short. I don't know, Andy, for sure that they would have been able to overturn it.
I was questioning whether or not he caught it. I don't know if
he
completed the process of the catch.
Oh, of course. In the era of we don't know what a catch is.
Yeah.
Look, I think ultimately watching all the slow down reviews of it, would they have called it incomplete? Probably not. But with the way that things have gone and the Brandon Cooks play, I'm not saying it was the same play, but give the refs a chance to inject themselves if you're Sean McVay. And instead, he goes instant timeout, and then I think he realizes, oh, boy, had I just done what Dan Campbell certainly would have done because he's done it before, you just – and it's like, well, Dan Campbell's done it when it's like this doesn't even really matter to the outcome of it, but you might as well. Right? You might as well just do it because it's the same as a timeout with the added bonus of they're going to look at this as long as they feel that they need to, rather than sometimes, Andy, that expedited review, it feels like it gets it wrong. So like if you're trusting the expedited version of things instead of I have the red flag, I should have used it before my timeout. It takes a lot to be able to think through that, but that's why he gets paid the big bucks. I think he bungled that in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, his mistake was not throwing the challenge flag first.
Instant.
No doubt about it.
Would you have challenged after that?
No,
that's tough.
to me, I don't think it would have been. And that's where I would like to see the rule be modified. Like if a coach calls timeout and he wants to challenge, I think it's a little too punitive to charge him another timeout for challenging when he already called one. So like, while the clock is spinning on the timeout, whatever, 30 seconds, whatever it is, tell them, okay, I want to challenge the last play. And then here's the thing. If you get it right, then you still lose your timeout because you called the timeout.
You do lose the first one, right? And like what they should teach coaches is the instinct in those moments should just be throw the flag. If you know you're definitely calling the timeout, which he would have, right? He was going to stop the clock no matter what. If it's anything moderately close, just throw it. And like he landed at the sticks. It was a mistake by McVay. I'm not saying because you're right about the rule. In college, it doesn't really come up. We see coaches call the timeout, hoping that the booth will take another moment to review it. You don't have to challenge it. So that's where the differential comes in versus the college game. In the pros, the pro coaches just need to be trained to, like, that should be a training video for any coach of coaches that would say, here's what you need to be ready to do. It's not a natural instinct because you're trying to save every second you can, so you immediately signal timeout. But in a play like that, have one hand on the flag before the play starts because, and that's probably a lot to ask for. It sounds ludicrous, but like I said, McVay gets paid the big bucks to get these moments right. And like I said, I don't know if they would have overturned it, but give them a chance to. Give them a chance to look at it when it really is your season on the line.
875-KTGR if you want to. Give us a call or a text with your thoughts on the coaching decisions that led to the Patriots-Seahawks Super Bowl matchup, which we'll discuss what we think about that matchup a little later on at 5:25. Call or text us at 875-KTGR. Up next, Under the Bus. If I had the physical and mental strength to do what that guy did scaling that skyscraper over the weekend.
What a freak.
Then I'd want Netflix to pay a whole lot more to me than they ended up paying that guy. That's next.
Now, your local Sports Center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Billy Jones. This live local sports center is with Lee's Tire Company. Vince Rounded Rubber. Lee sells it. Lee'sTireCompany.com. Missouri men's basketball wins in miraculous fashion at home against Oklahoma Saturday afternoon. Trent Pierce made a three-point shot to tie the game at the end of regulation, and Mark Mitchell followed suit with a game-winning three-point shot as time expired in overtime. Tigers win 88-87. Mitchell led the team in scoring with 25 points and rebounding with 10 boards. Both Jaden Stone and Teo Barrett score over 20 as well. Missouri's back on the road to take on Alabama tomorrow night. It's announced this weekend. Tip-off will be moved up to 7 p.m. The game was originally scheduled for 8 p.m. You hear that one here on KTGR with pregame beginning at 6:45. Missouri women's basketball rolls yesterday against Texas A&M 81-70, giving the Tigers their second SEC win of the season. Kelly Harper's crew raced to a 21-9 start in the first quarter and did not relinquish the lead for the remainder of the contest. Next up for the Tigers, a road trip to take on Mississippi State Sunday afternoon. Pregame begins at 1:45 here on KTGR. Tip-off at 2. Former Ole Miss wide receiver Cayden Lee announced his commitment to Missouri this Saturday. Lee totaled 106 catches for 1,623 yards and 7 touchdowns last season with the Rebels. He's now the third Ole Miss player to transfer to Missouri. Up next, your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'm tracking mostly clear skies tonight as we drop down to about 10 degrees. Wind chills remain in the single digits overnight. Tomorrow we'll see more sunshine. It'll be more tolerable to be outside with high temperatures back into the upper 20s, wind chills in the upper teens. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
Midway Electric presents the high school sports power play of the week.
Waits for the traffic to clear. Now he gives an outlet up the floor to Priest. Priest to Kritza. Right wing, Davis. Give and go with Kritza. Down low. Kritza up and in with the foul. Kritza takes the harm, gets the hoop. He'll head to the line for one more.
That's the power play of the week with Midway Electric, powered by people with pride. MidwayElectricInc.com.
I'm Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway. When severe weather hits, scammers often follow. They may pose as charities, jack up prices on essentials, or offer fraudulent home repairs. I'm committed to protecting Missourians from those scams. If you've been targeted or suspect price gouging, report it to our office at 800-392-8222 or online at ago.mo.gov.
Paid for by the Missouri Attorney General's office.
This is Brian Mays with Family Pawn Stores. We've been working with Zimmer Communications for decades. Since we started our branding campaign, we've seen our business grow by leaps and bounds. I signed on for radio and ended up with website service, digital advertising, plus all the production. Having a partner like Zimmer Communications has been paramount in building our business. I can rely on their staff for every facet of marketing, and that's just been a real relief.
Zimmer Communications. You know business. We grow business. ZimmerCommunications.com.
Hey, this is Lisa Stofan. Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking with hypnosis. Hypnosis eliminated my desire for soda and fast food, made me want to exercise, and I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. My energy level exploded. I went to another session to deal with some other problem foods, and I lost another 10 pounds. In fact, I brought my husband, and he lost weight, and his cholesterol and blood pressure improved. My friend lost 20 pounds her first 2 months.
Oh my, what are you waiting for? Lose the weight or stop smoking with Hypnosis, guaranteed only $59.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. That's right. Hypnosis Tuesday, February 3rd at the Capitol Plaza Hotel and Convention Center in Jefferson City, or Wednesday, February 4th at the Holiday Inn Columbia East in Columbia. Weight loss hypnosis 5:30. Stop smoking hypnosis 8 o'clock. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
And now the doggy dedication with Kretsch's Custom Exteriors. This week's letter comes from Coco in Columbia. Coco writes, "Dear Kretsch's, my human's been whizzing off his new deck nonstop. I've never seen him so happy. But while he's making salty lemon snow cones, I don't have a place to pee of my own. If I had a wood fence to whiz on, I could unleash my freedom stream from a three-legged lean. Well, Coco, Crutch's Custom Exteriors can build you that fence to splatter your bladder. Crutch's Custom Exteriors. True beauty is on the outside.
This is the year she gets an upgraded diamond, the year that dad finally gets his retirement watch, and the year that your daughter graduates, so you give her the necklace she's always dreamed of. Family Pawn is not your traditional pawn shop, but they are your secret to saving big on stunning jewelry for every occasion. Family Pawn, where you'll find timeless treasures for a fraction of the cost. FamilyPawn.com.
Not your traditional pawn shop. Family Pawn.
Life has many sweet sounds, whether it's being enchanted by the coo of a baby, enthralled by the refrain of a favorite song, or even enlightened by a celebration. Hearing connects, informs, and engages us with the world. At Hearing Aid Consultants, helping people hear better is our passion. Set your hearing baseline now so you don't miss the sweet sounds of life.
Hearing Aid Consultants in Almake Repair Lab. We are here for you today so you can hear tomorrow. HearingAidConsultants.com.
They can't shoot it straight on the golf course, but they can shoot straight on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Back to Andy and Brendan on The Big Show on KTGR.
It's time to go under the bus on The Big Show.
All right. Seems that Charles Bediako is going to play tomorrow.
Yep.
According to Nick Kelly, KL.com, Tuscaloosa judge Jim Roberts has extended Charles Bediako's temporary restraining order against the NCAA another 10 days because of counsel's unavailability for the hearing Tuesday. Kelly went on to say apparently an attorney for the NCAA in Tennessee cannot get to Tuscaloosa because of weather issues affecting the area.
Amazing. Is it still the same guy that's going to be presiding, or is it a different?
Presumably so. I think
Well, then
it's the
what's
same
the
guy.
point? What's the point of all this? If the Alabama super fan and mega donor is also going to be in charge of this next hearing, then I don't really think there's a point. Just let him play. Like, they're not going to rule. They're not going to change the ruling.
Exactly. So,
oh boy,
Under the bus.
at least for Mizzou's purposes, now you got to prepare for Charles Bediako coming up tomorrow. Under the bus also to Netflix. Here's the thing. This guy, Alex Honnold, not former Mizzou softball player Alex Honnold, but Alex Honnold, who scaled Taipei 101 with no harness, no rope, nothing, climbed to the top of this skyscraper, risking life and limb, gets to the top, provides all kinds of great entertainment for Netflix, and Netflix reportedly is only paying him mid-six figures? That's it? That's what his life is worth?
Come on. This
No.
guy.
I need
you're
at least
upset
$1
about
million
this?
life insurance policy if I'm going to do something like that. Come on.
Andy, this guy would have done it for free. He's
Yeah,
climbed.
I know.
He's
Yeah.
climbed some of these crazy mountains for doing it for free. He's built different, literally just wired differently. We watched a little bit of that on was that Saturday night, because I think weather impacted it for Friday night. But yeah, I don't know. I think he's probably. I legitimately think he would have done it for free. So that's why I'm like, it's probably fine.
Yeah, but Netflix has all kinds of money. Can't spare at least an extra
Under the
$500,000 to get him to seven figures.
Get him to $1 million on it.
Whatever mid-six figures means, I don't know. Like, come on.
It took him an hour and a half. It's a pretty good payday, Andy.
I guess per hour, that's not bad.
Not bad. Not a bad wage.
Yeah, for an honest day work.
I don't
pretty
think
good.
I could get up to the second story of that building.
Oh man!
And the dude just
Terrifying.
climbed it, like just climbed up it,
Terrifying,
as one does.
And under the bus to Tom Brady. We get it, buddy. You're hiring Clint Kubiak. We know. You don't have to be gushing over him all broadcast long. Oh, man. Look at Sam Darnold. And what a great play designed by Clint Kubiak. Wow.
Oh,
what great guts to call it in that scenario. Wow. That was something else. Very brave of him. This is the problem with him owning a team that is hiring a coach right now and is interviewing Clint Kubiak. Problem. We know now who he's hiring.
The
you really
bus.
think? Is it that?
Yeah.
Is it as simple as that?
I think it's as simple as that. He's like,
All right.
yeah, this is our guy, and I'm going to pump him up on national TV.
Okay.
Ready to do it.
It's time for the sweetest thing in sports on The Big Show.
We're guaranteed to get at least a couple of players from Mizzou into the Super Bowl this year, and looks like it'll be Drew Lock of the Seahawks and Marcus Bryant of the New England Patriots. Patriots also have Yasir Durant on their roster. He's on injured reserve. So kudos to both of them, and Drew Lock also for being the backup quarterback in the Super Bowl. You never know. Might get an opportunity. We'll see.
Hey, man, you can tweak an oblique. That happens all the time.
Yeah.
That's what Darnold's been dealing with. See, you never do know with this one. I think it could happen.
Peep over at Drew Lock's Super Bowl MVP odds and see, you never know. Never know.
Oh, could you imagine?
Oh, man. Up next, speaking of football, Mizzou football getting a boost to their wide receiver room officially over the weekend. Cayden Lee committing to the Tigers. What's that mean? We'll talk about it at 5:05. And we'll dive into what we think about this Super Bowl matchup. Is it a lopsided one? Seahawks healthy favorites at the moment in Santa Clara. We'll talk about it at 5:25 on The Big Show.
It was 1 p.m. on a Monday when the phone rang. Brian Ware Plumbing and Restoration answered the call. It was a panicked family with a mouse problem. Well, a mouse/plumbing problem. Their toilet was more backed up than the connector at 63 and I-70. But Brian's team eventually plucked out the problem. It was a mouse, but like the computer kind, which the family then asked if they could keep afterwards. We didn't ask why. Better call Brian and unplug your plumbing problems. BrianWarePlumbing.com.
We know exactly what you're not thinking about right now. Wiper blades. But now that you are, take a moment to think about how Rain-X is the #1 brand of wiper blades in America. Why? Because Rain-X thinks about wiper blades all the time. We obsess, so you don't have to. Simply install our blades and then think about literally anything else. So choose Rain-X, America's #1 wiper blades, and then go back to not thinking about wiper blades. Rain-X. Outsmart the elements.
You still thinking job change in the new year? Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy. IT? Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI. That's what I did. Really? How? Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up. Sweet. Are classes online or on campus? Both. Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Your foresight is so good, you can practically see into the future. But fortune telling isn't the career path you want to take. Instead of predicting people's futures, you can help build them at Fuse 32. Because you recognize things before they can even become problems. You love the thrill of success and getting paid for it. All that's left to do now is look into that crystal ball and see yourself on the sales team at Fuse 32. There's nothing we can't do. Apply now at Fuse32.com.
KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton Columbia, K286CL Columbia, in Missouri's total sports station. KTGR.
I'm Christine Lisi. An MRI, as expected, confirmed Bucks power forward Giannis Antetokounmpo has a right calf strain. His potential return date remains uncertain. Despite his history of calf issues, Milwaukee hasn't considered resting him the rest of the season, and there is no lack of interest around the league regarding Giannis ahead of the February 5th trade deadline. It is time the sides part ways, says ESPN NBA analyst Kendrick Perkins.
At this point, Giannis is wearing out his welcome, and then on the other hand, the Bucks are just holding on for what? When you could trade this guy and get back with everything and more. And at some point, somebody's going to have to make a stance. I think I put more ownership on Giannis to go to the front office and tell them what he wants than them just because they're just going to continue to hold on.
NFL, the Bills interviewed Broncos passing game coordinator Davis Webb for their head coaching job today. They're also considering Jacksonville offensive coordinator Grant Udinski, who withdrew from consideration for the Browns vacancy. Cleveland quarterback Shedeur Sanders added to the upcoming Pro Bowl games. He's replacing New England's Drake May.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance, making it easy to save money. When you bundle your auto policy with home, condo, or renters, you'll earn a multi-policy discount. Easy to bundle, easy to save. Visit Progressive.com.
Bush.
Back to the wall, and it's got her.
And Arrowhead.
Touchdown! Kansas City!
To your speakers.
This is the big show, baby.
Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is The Big Show with Andy and Brendan on KTGR.
Cayden Lee is a Tiger. Getting that news officially makes you feel pretty excited, I would think, about the state of the offense for Mizzou football this next season. A lot of fun pieces in place. We'll talk about where things stand, and we'll also get into this coming up at about 5:25. Is this Super Bowl going to be like a total dud? We could have a lopsided matchup on our hands. There's one team that's opened up as a nice favorite, and I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up as an even bigger favorite. We'll talk about that coming up. 573-875 KTGR. You can call us or text us, but first, it's 5 o'clock.
It's time for the top 5 at 5 on The Big Show. Number 1.
If you want to trade away for curtain number 1, you can have curtain 1.
How about Mizzou men's hoops on Saturday? Yeah, they had to scrape and claw against an Oklahoma team that had really been scuffling recently, but win's a win. And it was a thrilling win at that. And the fans who made the trek to Mizzou Arena through the snow to see it happen, I'm sure they're going to remember that for quite a while. Trent Pierce, the buzzer beater to tie it in the end of regulation, and then Mark Mitchell with the game winner at the end of overtime. Should also be noted, Oklahoma hit a shot at the end of halftime that didn't count. It was after the buzzer, and so it kind of added to sort of the buzzer beater feel of that type of game. But Mizzou was on the winning end of it, and that's all they needed. Just get a win against the team that you're superior to in the metrics and see if you can take your shot against Alabama, but that might be a little tougher to overcome tomorrow because...
Number 2.
Number 2, your timing is impeccable.
Charles Bediako, the former G League player, is going to play tomorrow for Alabama against the Tigers. The judge in that case in Tuscaloosa, his eligibility case, has extended the temporary restraining order against the NCAA for 10 days. The hearing can't happen tomorrow because apparently an attorney for the NCAA that's trying to come in from Tennessee can't do so because of tough weather. Well, that's convenient for Mizzou. Now they got to face that big center, who, by the way, was impactful for Alabama in their game on Saturday against Tennessee. They still didn't win it, but Mizzou's going to have a handful with him.
Number 3.
I think we got a pretty good Super Bowl matchup, Patriots-Seahawks, but I would still expect the Seahawks to have a pretty sizable advantage considering how they've been playing. They just look like a much more complete team, and I'm not sure the Patriots offensively will be able to hang with what the Seahawks got. Credit to both teams, though. I think in the end, we got the right Super Bowl matchup, the two teams out of the 4 left that most deserved to be in this spot. Maybe some coaching gaffes that contributed to it here and there, but in the end, two best teams left, Patriots, Seahawks. Let's go.
Number 4.
Oh, shanked it.
Cayden Lee officially committed to Mizzou football this past weekend, and that's a big addition to the wide receiver group. Of course, best buds with Austin Simmons, so you immediately get that camaraderie, and I think the wide receiver room is pretty well filled out now for what Mizzou was able to get from the portal, considering what they lost in it. We'll discuss in a few minutes.
Number 5.
What is the 5 fingers? Say to the face.
I'm just saying, unnamedsportsbook.com has Drew Lock at 75-1 for Super Bowl MVP.
That's The Big Show's top 5 at 5 on KTGR.
Yeah? No?
Oh, boy.
What do you think? Maybe?
I think that would be one way that you could invest your you could invest yourself in the big game. That would be one way.
Don't do too much of it. Let's
maybe the 75-1. I will invest the 1. I will invest the $1 and try to win me 75.
And
You're not
happens,
rooting for an
that's
injury.
a pleasant surprise. Yeah, exactly.
You're not rooting for an injury. They probably have to keep it that low just to guard against something like that, because I mean, you could say it's 1,000,000,000-1, but then the guy gets hurt and the backup quarterback plays well. Quarterbacks often win. I don't know. I would say probably not a value I'd be hunting, but would be fun if it happened, if Drew Lock were forced into action and were able to win it.
I mean, it's happened in a Super Bowl before where the quarterback got hurt and the other guy had to finish it out. Ironically, the team has won doing that. But that was a while ago. And look, it's obviously going to be a talking point for 2 weeks for Sam Darnold. But I think, as the injury expert Will Carroll told us last week, if you get those 2 weeks, yeah, you should be pretty good.
Yeah.
Right. And so
I think you'll be okay.
Yeah. So
the rest will help.
It's fun to think about, but yeah, probably not. Maybe don't expect Drew Lock to be out there. And if he is, then the Seahawks probably won't be as healthy of favorites anymore. We'll see.
I would say they'd be okay, but yeah, we'll talk about it coming up at 5:25. I think the Seahawks might. I know Vrabel's my guy, but the Seahawks are in a good spot, I think, in this game.
Yeah, so call or text us with what you think about the Super Bowl matchup, 573-875-KTGR. We'll talk some Mizzou football now. Cayden Lee official. How about that?
There we go. The honeycomb.
Mizzou, the honeycomb. Gonna link up with Austin Simmons once again. Simmons, of course, I mean, they're really tight together, like off the field. On the field, they hadn't really been able to play together all that much because Simmons got hurt last year. But you can clearly see that these two are tight and can be a nice boost to what Mizzou is trying to add to the passing game next year. For getting a guy like Austin Simmons, who brings some upside, obviously, and you like his chances as a starter, this is still going to be the first full season that he's working with at that helm. And so to bring in a guy that he's got a ton of experience with already, not just in games, but they practice together all the time. And that's really where you build the relationships. I mean, this could be more of a boost than maybe we saw last year because, look, like Bo Prabila was coming into a situation where he had to deal with a bunch of receivers that he was meeting for the first time and things like that. Yeah, but this guy's going to have at least one that he can really trust out there.
Yeah, I mean, he was a regular for an Ole Miss offense that was maybe the best in the country this year.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was not Simmons ultimately throwing the football throughout all that, but the relationship is there, and Simmons was a huge advocate for getting Cayden Lee. So I think it can't hurt to have that type of relationship. Cayden Lee and Donovan Olubade as a 1-2 punch at wide receiver with an Austin Simmons that shows a little bit of progression from like the decision-making side of things, because I don't doubt the physical tools, I think makes a huge difference. If Mizzou can come up with that formula, which is all in place there to be had, if you can come up with that, I think you're in a really good situation for the passing game to take a huge step.
And it needs to. I mean, it's what Mizzou needs to be competitive or more competitive in their games this year than they were a season ago. It's not to say that it can't get much worse, because it can't. Like it's essentially it's a low bar to clear to be better than last year.
Yeah,
but you need a sizable jump if we're going to talk about, okay, this team can be in the playoff conversation or things like that, which is ultimately what you hope for. But it has to be a pretty sizable leap from how defenses treated Mizzou's passing game last year versus this upcoming year. Like there have to be some major revamps. That look, we're seeing the personnel now, and now we just wait to see how they're going to utilize those tools, who gets placed in what position, things like that.
Yeah, and I think we talked about it a little bit last week, the degree to which the offense can kind of drive the bus here compared to a defense that was certainly the stronger unit this past season, but has a lot of turnover and we're seeing hopefully new contributors come in. We know they've been active in the portal, but I think you're also going to need some guys from the inside to take the step forward. But I'm hoping that with what they've done on the offensive side, they have the makings of a team that can be offense first. And if they have to go out there and win some games, 31-30, then they maybe have the opportunity and the potential to successfully do that.
And look, from what Mizzou has added in the portal so far, defensively, they did add a little bit more. They added another guy, I believe, from Miami at the linebacker spot to maybe just fill out some more depth, in addition to Malik Bryant, who they landed before the weekend started. And so we'll see what that looks like. It is interesting that PowerMizzou.com reported this over the weekend, that after the Cayden Lee news, it was kind of learned that maybe Horatio Fields, who was an earlier commit through the transfer portal to Mizzou, coming from Auburn. Seems he's not going to be with Mizzou this season. Power Mizzou reporting that he never enrolled. Is not going to, hadn't shown up. They've already welcomed in a whole bunch of the transfers already at the start of the school year to join the team and activities and everything like that. But Fields not with them. We'll see what. I still think the wide receiver room is pretty good anyway. I think Lee is the bigger addition. Fields would have started if you ask me, but I think the fact that you have clearly a Kevin Coleman replacement, you have the rise of Olubade who can take a step year 1 to year 2, and we'll see what that jump looks like for him. And then you're replacing the other parts. You got a Marquise Johnson replacement, if you ask me, and Caleb Goody. We'll see if he starts or not. But the depth behind there will breed some more competition, and then it'll all be on what Austin Simmons is able to develop with those connections with receivers.
Yeah, and disappointing, I guess, because you'd love to have more great players that you feel good about. Fields was, played only a partial season, but the year before that was very involved for Auburn, and I think I lean Cayden Lee in terms of the production profile there, especially with it being a healthy, more recent production. But it is what it is. I think, like I said, with Lee and Olubade as kind of the 1-2 punch, Goody as the downfield threat, a la Marquise Johnson, and then Norfleet. Obviously, you hope for health with him compared to what we've seen the last couple of years, maybe. And then the running backs you're not going to find a better running back tandem in the country. The quarterback that brings it all together, and they went out and they got guys for the offensive line. We'll see how that coalesces, Andy. But I think by and large, there's the makings of something pretty good here.
And so they're probably set now with the major players. I don't think they're in on anybody major anymore with the transfer portal. This is most likely the group that you're going to have out there.
Yeah.
You feel like they got enough?
Offensively, I do. Offensively, I'm excited, and I think they will take a step forward. I think they identified Austin Simmons from the very beginning of the process, and because of that, I feel as though it gives them the look that they wanted. It gives Eli Drinkwitz the look that he wanted from day one, and so I'm going to trust that was a decision that was made for a reason. Yes, I think part of it was due to the constructs of you're going to have the money to work with, you're going to have the timetables to work with, in terms of getting guys on visits and things like that. And I don't know that in the past we've talked about the near misses at quarterback for Mizzou under Drinkwitz in the portal. I feel like frustration maybe over that, or just the notion of I don't want to deal with that. I know that this is a guy that this is who we want. This is someone we can identify. This is someone we can get. The fact that they were able to work it out with him. Yes, you can stay with Ole Miss until they're knocked out of the playoff. We're not going to have, the Purbulla situation. Learn from that it doesn't have to be that way necessarily. I think everybody handled it properly, but I think they ended up getting the guy that they wanted, and that's really the main thing.
So call or text us with what you think, 573-875-KTGR. So, I mean, does that mean you think it's a playoff team next year? Just because the offense improved enough? Or defensively, how much are they giving up?
Defensively, we got to see. I mean, I still think defensively we've got to see what it's going to look like. And I don't know that we're going to really know until you get into that first game. That's a real tester. But I thought this was interesting as well. Something I read on the Power Mizzou board that Cody Goodwin put together just some of the way too early rankings. And it's from places like CBS Sports, The Athletic, Fox Sports, Pro Football Focus. I'm just going to rattle off the numbers for you. And I gave you the outlets. They've got Mizzou number 17, number 13, number 15, and number 20 in the country in some of these way too early rankings. That feels like not only do we feel like, and do I believe Eli Drinkwitz feels that they've got their quarterback, I think maybe nationally people are looking at Austin Simmons and that acquisition and saying, yeah, Mizzou's got their quarterback. That's noteworthy to me that you're getting that kind of love. That's not typical. You had the 10-win season in coming off of a big year, and you get, I think, 13th in the preseason poll. What was that, a year ago? And that was notable, but it's not normal for what happens at Missouri. So I thought that was kind of a good thing to say, all right, at least there's some people out there. It's not, you don't win it in the offseason with headlines, but I do think it's better than the alternative of kind of being an afterthought, which I don't think Missouri is going into next season.
This will be an interesting test, though, of how much does the offseason really bog you down with so much information that you then just don't remember from late January, and then it's time to fill out your AP ballot in late July, and you're like, okay, where are the brand names and everything like that?
Yeah.
If I had to guess right now, they're not ranked. They won't be preseason ranked. But that's notable because that should be looked at a little more closely than maybe it is when you go through so much of this time. And look, I understand spring football will happen, and then there's the summer where everyone's just started and they hear all of the sayings during media days and things like that, and teams or programs that maybe didn't have as great of a portal period are saying, like, well, they're saying the right things, they feel really good about their group, and I'm hearing this and I'm hearing that, and then they
play,
and then they go up to, they get ranked number 20, but then they play and they're not as up to snuff. Now, look, I'm not saying that Mizzou is going to immediately benefit from that, because I think I was surprised to see that, because last couple of years, the transfer class has, I think, objectively been better than this one.
That's a great question, because quarterback is the most important position.
Right.
What if Simmons is the guy and he's the top half quarterback in the SEC, which I've seen rankings that don't have it ranked out that way, but what if he is? Ole Miss thought he was good enough to begin the season. Chambliss ended up being a stud, and, Simmons, we saw some unevenness from him at the beginning, but I mean, what if he is the answer? Well, then everything else you do in the portal is kind of irrelevant compared to getting the quarterback right, which they didn't this past time. Like, Bo Prabula had his bright spots, but he ultimately was not, the quarterback to take the program to the next level. And so with that in mind, I think the depth of the class, and especially on defense, is maybe not quite what last year's was, but the unknown of, what's in the mystery box is enticing at the quarterback position. And I do think, okay, am I going to say Cayden Lee better than getting Kevin Coleman? I don't know. Kevin Coleman had a ton of production for Mississippi State, but that, as we talked about before the season, was a very pass-heavy offense that was generally trailing in all of its games, and so he racked up a lot of stats. Yeah. We saw Kevin Coleman be a good contributor, but I think by the end of the season, we were looking at the Mizzou receivers and going, we didn't really...
I mean, he far out-caught and the receiving yards. He was double anybody else on the team. He was still the best contributor of the passing game.
Yeah,
but
were we underwhelmed by the passing game? We were. Was it Kevin Coleman's fault?
Yeah,
no, not really.
No.
So that's where it's hard to grade. But certainly, I think defensively, and especially when it comes to the edge rushers, did we get enough to replace what was a pretty impactful room last year? You're going to see those guys playing on Sundays. That's maybe the biggest question to me about possibly the entire roster, because I would say secondary is always a concern. You had guys like Marvin Burks leave that you didn't think were going to be leaving, but then, it comes around that you just add as much depth at those positions as you can and kind of see where the chips fall. I'm okay with that too.
Yeah, you're a little younger at safety, which, I don't know, sometimes it can be a good thing. We just don't know, but you're just adding a little more to that room than you were maybe expecting to. And then at corner, like you were expecting that you were going to have to add a lot. So you got some experience, you got some guys who maybe haven't had a shot because of injury or things like that recently. So you give them another shot, let that competition go. I feel like they replaced that pretty well in the corner room. Safety, we'll see. I mean, I'm intrigued by some of the guys there, some young promising prospects, but it's going to be a feeling out process because, again, they lost Burks and they lost Dalen Carnell. Like that, the position that he plays is a very unique one, and you've got to find the right guy to step into that role, which might take a bit of a process to really identify that.
But I feel like Drinkwitz knows that and is aware of that, and so you make it happen to be able to identify that. And maybe we don't know today exactly what the answer is going to be, but I think internally he's got a short list of who the candidates are going to be able to fill that role. And it's a big one. It's going to be important to fill a lot of big roles. You want to replicate the Damon Wilson production. Did you replicate the Trotter production enough? Yes, you landed the guy that you were hoping can be that, but time's going to tell.
And I mean, the early part of this to me that's going to be fascinating with the defense is that, okay, how much does Corey Batoon have to change what he has done in the past based on the personnel that he's got up front? When he knew that Zion Young and Damon Wilson didn't need an extra rusher to really get their guy and meet at the quarterback, then like it allowed you to be a little more protective on the back end, and that helped out Mizzou's defense a great degree. Now, like, you might have to be a little more exotic in who you bring off the edge to give yourself a favorable matchup in the backfield that you aren't, and also not giving up too much on the other side. Like, you're going to have to trust your corners a lot more than you did last year. That's maybe getting too into the weeds on January 26th, but that's what I immediately think of. Like, I think it might have to be like Corey Batoon's done a pretty good job here last couple of years. This might be a year where he needs to evolve a little bit based on the personnel that he has.
Yeah, I don't think that's offsides at all to be thinking in terms of, okay, the strength of your defense was pass rush and linebacker play, and now, you're going to have to find another way to potentially get to similar results. But I would agree that he's been adaptable, and I would say that early last year in some of those games like Kansas and even South Carolina come to mind, we were looking at the back end of the defense and the secondary going, oh boy, like there's some lapses here. I don't think there were hardly any the second half of the season. So the ability to, even with the same personnel that you have, adapt to improve it as the year goes along, I think is a notable strength of Corey Batoon's defense.
Well, again, 9-game schedule next year in the SEC, so less time to essentially ramp up to it when you go to Mississippi State week 4. And like it's the easiest game you could ask to start with for an SEC schedule, but you get less time now to really find out about your team before you play the games that really matter. And so that's going to be the big thing. So that's why having Austin Simmons getting a rhythm early on going to be key.
Oh, yeah. No doubt about that. Lots of Mizzou talk to come over the next 8-9 months before we get the season going. But this is what we love, man. This is it's fun to have a team that I think, as much as you might be underwhelmed by some of the things that didn't happen in the portal, I think a lot of stuff did happen to where there's a lot to be excited about.
I don't know. I'm already ready for them to announce the change that they're moving the Pine Bluff game to a Thursday. Like,
still a tradition unlike any other.
Yeah, scheduled for Saturday, September 5th, but maybe you'll see Thursday, September 2nd if things hold true. Yeah, Billy, what you got?
If you had to put a number on it, right? Do you think there's any chance Zollers is a starting quarterback in September?
No.
There's a chance.
They're going to Billy. They'll say it's a competition again, but I think if last year's was like a 65-35 or a 70-30 veered toward Bo, which I felt it was at least that, this is more like 75 or 80-20. Like, Zollers could make a leap because the physical tools are there, but I think they went out and got Austin Simmons for a reason. If Austin Simmons is like making blunders in practice and camp that like we don't think the decision making is going to be there when they really test him as much as they can do in that setting, then maybe Drinkwitz gets some second thoughts about it. But I think he identified the guy he wants. That's just my opinion.
I agree. It is going to. They'll give everybody a shot as they do at the very start. They'll get their first like pre-evaluation in spring football, but like if Austin Simmons looks the way that they expect him to look, there's probably not a whole lot of opening that anybody else can rise up and do it. So like, look, and they obviously still want Zollers here. They still like Zollers. It's not that that they're dumping him for something like that. Like, the reason why they went out and got another quarterback in this portal period is because they want to preserve Zollers and maybe have him be the guy next year. Who knows?
And I think it's really not that big of a stretch or a reach to think that Zollers is cool with that. If you think about the way last year was supposed to go, was that Bo and Sam would have a competition. One of them would win it. The other would back him up. And Zollers would see 0 snaps for the season.
Right.
Coming off of a devastating injury his last year of high school, he wasn't supposed to play. So if that's the way your freshman year goes, and now you're a redshirt freshman coming into this year, you're maybe a little bit more acclimated to like compete, but you're still probably not winning the job over the incumbent. Had it been Bo, or like if Sam had won, he'd have another year of eligibility. So in that instance, nothing's really changed, I don't think, in Matt Zoller's world, other than the perception of well he played, and so is he now going to expect to get to continue to play? And I think the proof is in the pudding. He's still here, isn't he? Like, he didn't enter the portal, so I think he gets what the long range plan is, and I still think he can make the most of that plan as time goes along.
I mean, we'll see. Things can always change in college football, but he's here, and I think it's a good thing for Mizzou that he is, as long as he turns into the quarterback that they evaluated at the very start and saw the potential of, then should be seeing that at some point. Call or text us at 875-KTGR with your Mizzou football thoughts. They land Cayden Lee. It might be their last big addition of the transfer portal class. Might be. Never say never in college football, but tell us what you think about the transfer class for Mizzou football here on the Big Show, KTGR. Up next, is this going to be a lopsided Super Bowl? Are we already kind of preparing for that as we're still a little less than 2 weeks away from it? Patriots, Seahawks. Give us your reaction to the matchup next.
Miss the latest edition of The Big Show? Catch up on demand with a full show podcast on the KTGR app. Download it now, wherever you get your apps.
Paradise doesn't have to be far away. Sometimes it's a quiet walk through a state park. Sometimes it's your favorite takeout and a night in. At Shangri-La, we believe that cannabis belongs in those everyday moments, not as an escape, but as part of living well. That's why we offer 20% off select category every day, plus 20% off honest guidance, real value. Shangri-La, discover paradise. Learn more at ShangriLaDispensaries.com.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
You like saving money, right? We all do. That's why Allstate just lowered the price of car insurance. Not, but wait, there's a catch. Lower. Actually lower. So if you're shopping around or just want to see how much you could save, check Allstate first for a new lower auto rate that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
This is the year she gets an upgraded diamond. The year that dad finally gets his retirement watch. And the year that your daughter graduates. So you give her the necklace she's always dreamed of. Family Pawn is not your traditional pawn shop, but they are your secret to saving big on stunning jewelry for every occasion. Family Pawn, where you'll find timeless treasures for a fraction of the cost. FamilyPawn.com.
Not your traditional pawn shop. Family Pawn.
You're a merchant of all things that are man. Firearms, fishing, cars, food, sports. Yeah, the kind of stuff every man always needs more of. So show it off at the Mecca of Man. The 2026 Como Man Show, Saturday, March 14th at the Northeast Event Center where the Boone County Fair is held. It's the best and most fun way to show every man they need what you got. Seriously, by showing them. Bring your best stuff, show it off, and have a blast. For more info on being a vendor at the Man Show, go to ComoManShow.com.
I'm Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway. When severe weather hits, scammers often follow. They may pose as charities, jack up prices on essentials, or offer fraudulent home repairs. I'm committed to protecting Missourians from those scams. If you've been targeted or suspect price gouging, report it to our office at 800-392-8222 or online at ago.mo.gov.
Paid for by the Missouri Attorney General's office.
You're not the kind to make a nice little snow angel when the snow falls. You mark your territory in a different way. With a lemonade autograph. But when others tinkle their title in your business parking lot, you get peed off. Thanks a lot, Chad. Nice cursive work, though. Good for you, Tina. Tina? Wait a minute. Get rid of the snow graffiti with Crutch's Custom Exteriors commercial snow removal. Call Crutch's and get a quote today. Seriously, though, Tina, that's impressive.
Tired of calling Andy and Brendan? So are their wives. Then shoot them a text right now. 573-875-KTGR and become part of the Big Show.
Hope your snow weekend was a fun one. If you watched some Mizzou basketball, hey, probably added some fun to it. Call or text us with what you think on Mizzou hoops, Mizzou football landing Cayden Green, and the Super Bowl matchup, 875-KTGR here on The Big Show. We're also live on YouTube and Facebook. Be sure to check us out there and on the free KTGR app, where you can find all of our content, all of our YouTube videos, all of our podcasts, everything there. You can check out what games are going to be on this week and things like that. It's a great app to have that Brendan learned about 5 minutes ago, but that's all right.
You told me during the break we had an app, and I'm excited about it. I'm going to check it out. Gotta have to see what we got cooking over there.
How long can this bit go?
As long as I'm here, I think it'll go.
Keeps on going. So go and check out the KTGR app wherever you get your apps. Totally free. And every once in a while, you get a chance to enter into some nice contests for some tickets. Those opportunities will come up every so often. So be ready for that with the KTGR app. All right. Patriots, Seahawks. I was opening up my betting app last night.
Yep.
Right as the game ended, right as the Seahawks were kneeling down. They had to kneel down, right? No, they didn't. There was the Rams had one last gasp.
Oh, it was disgusting.
But and Nakua caught the ball, but he tried to get out of bounds and quite get there, and because he didn't, clock rolled and went to 0.
It was disgusting. Jurisdiction of legality. One more Kyron Williams random catch or a random Higbee catch, and I would have been Jeffrey Bezos.
Mine would have been Devontae Adams.
Devontae?
Yeah.
I had. Oh man.
I mean, Stafford was looking his way every play during that goal line stuff and the drive before, and I was like, no, didn't get there. But I was opening up the app right as the game was ending. Super Bowl was already posted.
Yep.
Seahawks -3.5. And I'm like, well, shoot, that's only going to last for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Thought about getting it right then. I didn't.
No,
And then 10 minutes later, 4.5. And it's still there.
The same.
Still
it's
there.
Still 4.5.
Yeah.
The juice has flipped. I did bet on the Seahawks last night before bed. -4.5. 108 was the price. It's now 115. I see. So it could scoot to 5. It feels like 4.5 is like not a great number though. So I wouldn't be surprised if it holds there. But I do think there's a realm in which the Seahawks just roll in the Super Bowl. I don't want to underestimate. Like, I think Drake May is a difference maker. I think he's the better quarterback, honestly, in the matchup. Patriots, though, like when you look at their path, we talked a lot about how CJ Stroud played in the playoffs.
Yeah.
We know that Justin Herbert did not play well.
Likes to throw picks.
I mean, those 2 wins for the Patriots, and then you get Jarrett Stidham. So, like, I get it. You might just say Sam Darnold is the next evolution in that and crown the Patriots.
Right.
But I also feel like they just haven't been tested in the same way. And I don't really punish the Seattle defense for giving up 1 million yards to Puka Nacua and for the Stafford having the game that he had. I think that's just the other best offense in the NFL. Maybe the best offense in the NFL with what the Rams have to be able to take the Seahawks to the brink. And basically, the Rams defense is not strong.
No.
So I think Seattle put people in a blender with that defense. I think Mike McDonald is ready for this. And I feel as though, like, the Patriots offensively, I mean, their touchdown yesterday came off of a defensive.
Yeah, play. They had they could not move the football at all.
They were gifted the red zone. And if they hadn't been, I don't think that, I think they lose, whatever, 7-3. Like, I just don't. I was not impressed with that offensively, and I think Seattle is going to be a really tough customer on defense. They're playing offensively really well. I was worried about what the run game would look like, and you saw a lot of George Holani because I do think that there's a trust factor for Kenneth Walker from that coaching staff that only extends so far. But he played perfectly well, and he's explosive as well. I just think Seattle is going to win this Super Bowl by 8 to 10 points. It's going to be it'll be respectable, but I think Seattle's the better team. And look, the reason they're not going to give my Drake May the MVP is because they didn't play anybody, right? And the Rams did it against a tougher schedule, so Stafford's going to win the MVP. They really didn't play anybody. And in these playoffs, they didn't play anybody.
No.
So I'm inclined to believe that Seattle's gonna win this thing by a touchdown.
No offenses, that's for sure. Not a single offensive threat, and I am including the Chargers in that.
You should, the way that Herbert played.
I mean, like it even gives me pause of like, yeah, Mike McDaniel's there now officially as the offensive coordinator. I don't know. It's the right fit. It's the hire they needed to make. I am not convinced that even he can fix what their issues were this year, which kind of deteriorated when their tackles just got decimated.
Which is fair. Like that's a reason to struggle when you have those kind of injuries.
And so Patriots did not have to worry too much about stopping the other team. It was just going to be about protect the football yourself. Drake May methodically move down the field. If you don't convert on this third down, but we're in field goal range, we're not going to risk it. We're just going to go there. But they weren't even in that many situations because a lot of the time their offense was put in very advantageous spots. All the picks they got against Justin Herbert and CJ Stroud and all those short fields and defensive touchdowns.
So, I guess, do we look at that and say, wow, that Patriots defense, or do we look at that and we discredit the offenses that they faced? My inclination is the latter. That's the bet I am making on Seahawks spread is I don't think that the challenge level was quite there and the defense is opportunistic. And look, maybe if Darnold turns into a pumpkin, that would be perfect. I go down swinging on Sam Darnold in a Super Bowl. How dumb will I feel? But I feel like I either win this bet pretty easily or the Seahawks win by exactly 4 points, 21-17. And I go, dang it, I should have got it right before, right when the game ended, when Andy mentioned that it was 3.5 instead of 4.5. Because I did. I got a bad number, but I also think that it shouldn't really matter.
I don't think so either. I mean, it should be a game that they can win by a touchdown, at least. Super Bowl can be weird, though.
If they start to use Travion Henderson for the first time all year and it's why the Patriots win, I am going to lose it. Because I've always
snaps yesterday.
And they trust Ramondre Stevenson more. I have sprinkled bets on Travion Henderson all year long. He was the guy that I could not quit, and the other guy for player props that I could not quit. And last night I went down in a blaze of glory. Terrence Ferguson, who was the target on that 4th and 4 play in the end zone for the Rams. And just the other tight ends had big splashes last night. He didn't, and I would have really loved one from him. But I don't think I can do it. So for the Super Bowl, I've already placed this bet. Both running backs, Ramondre and Ken Walker, 25 receiving yards. I think we saw Ken Walker getting out of the backfield last night, and he gets ahead of steam, and he's off to the races. And I think Ramondre is going to, against the Seattle team that generally allows passes to running backs. Only Kyron had a couple. Could have used one more. I think that Ramondre is going to be on the field a ton. Because why would Vrabel, in the most important game of his career, suddenly start to trust the rookie that he has very clearly not had trust for all year long? So that's the other bet I did last night on the two running backs to get some receiving yards in the Super Bowl, as the quarterbacks might have to kind of feel their way through the game a little bit.
Call or text us 573-875-KTGR. Your thoughts on the Super Bowl matchup. Hyler is here on the KTGR hotline. Hyler, what you got?
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call. So it's kind of funny. Preseason, you guys were talking about what's the NFC West going to look like. And we had a little talk about that. You guys said Seahawks are going to be at the bottom. I told you that we would be in the Super Bowl within the next 3 years. And as a Seahawks fan, I'm super stoked that we are ahead of schedule on that. So I think this is going to be a landslide. I agree with what you guys are saying on the Pat side of the ball, that in the playoffs and even regular season, they haven't really played like outstanding teams. I think regular season they had 2 wins against teams over 500. So with the way that the Seahawks have been firing on all cylinders, special teams, defense, and offense, especially Sam Darnold cleaning up his turnovers coming into the playoffs, and our run game getting online, even with Zach Charbonnet out, like I don't see how this isn't a repeat of last year, essentially.
As far as like it being so lopsided, like that's what you mean on the just a blowout in the Super Bowl. I mean, potentially. We weren't really talking about it being a blowout last year, though, between the Chiefs and the Eagles. Not. We thought it was going to be right down to the wire. Appreciate the call, Hyler, here on the Big Show KTGR.
And if I were going to play devil's advocate for my own wager, I would say that the way it goes bad is you will have the most colossally goofy mistake by Ken Walker that you've ever seen in a football game. and it will cost him millions in free agency. That would be the way. Like, Patriots defense is playing pretty well. Seattle really feels it needs to establish the run a little bit, and he runs backwards 10 yards for a safety, or he fumbles it and it leads to a touchdown. Something like that the Patriots benefited from against Denver. Because I was on Denver yesterday. I really thought they were going to, by the time it all came around, I was like, you know what? We're overrating this Jarrett Stidham thing, and there's an aspect of haven't played anybody for New England. And I think if not for that mistake, they probably end up with a different result. And even if it's like regular weather, I think maybe ends up that the Denver Broncos end up winning that game yesterday. Doesn't mean I think they're a great team, but I think the Patriots, as good as they are, made the most of what their schedule was this year, and they're here. They deserve to be here. I just think the AFC was an all-time weak field, and Seattle is as balanced as any team in the NFL was all season long. And if they survive that onslaught from the Rams yesterday, I think they can survive just about anything in 2 weeks.
Well, look on the bright side. If Ken Walker has a huge blunder that costs him a bunch of money, exactly, the Chiefs have a chance at him.
It's all
right. There you go. I would like that.
I would not mind a Ken Walker, Brashard Smith backfield. Little 1-2 action. That would be okay.
It's kind of the setup Seattle has at the moment, a little bit, right?
Well,
or at least what they want.
What I don't know about Brashard Smith is his history of fumbling. He's more of a receiver out of the backfield. Charbonnet is just sure-handed. That's what they really liked about him. He makes the right play. Coach's favorite kind of guy. Obviously, going to be hard-pressed to make it back for week 1 next year, so maybe Seattle decides that they can't afford to let Ken Walker go and they tag him or whatever it is you can do. But Ken Walker is an explosive player. He would be very interesting as a Chiefs target for sure.
So we'll see how that looks coming up. 875-KTGR. Jason says Henderson plus 7,500 MVP. Aha.
If it happens, I will lose my mind. I will lose it because I don't think I can do it.
Same odds as Drew Lock?
I cannot wager on Travion Henderson, but how hard would it be for him to break an 80-yarder? He gets one touch, and for the first time all season, they decide, what if we handed it to him on the outside instead of running him right up the gut? And then he goes. It will make me come on here and say they should never have legalized sports gambling in the first place. I will be so distraught because I just don't think I can do it. I don't think I can back him this time.
You don't give it to running backs either. They should have given
the type
it to
of running back they could.
Yeah,
but the type of running back they could would be the rookie that, breaks 2 60-yard touchdown runs. Like if he gets 4 carries and 2 of them are housed, then that would be a way that it could happen. I think the Henderson bet, as much as I just don't see Vrabel giving him the chance, the Henderson bet is honestly probably better than the Drew Lock one, in my opinion.
Well, yeah. I mean,
you're banking on injury with that one.
Yeah, exactly. Which, look, you never know, but again, Darnold gets 2 weeks now and a whole like a 40-minute halftime. Like, I think they're all good.
Yeah,
they'll be just
fine.
Be all right. Give us your thoughts on the Super Bowl matchup, 875-KTGR here on The Big Show. We'll get some more of your calls and texts next after this live local sports center.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Billy Joe. The Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. Vince Rounded Rubber. Lee sells it. Lee'sTireCompany.com. Missouri men's basketball wins 88-87 in miraculous fashion at home against Oklahoma Saturday afternoon. Trent Pierce hit a 3-point shot to tie the game at the end of regulation, and then Mark Mitchell followed suit with a game-winning 3-point shot as time expired in overtime. Mitchell led the team in scoring with 25 and rebounding with 10 boards. Jaden Stone and Teo Barrett also over 20 points as well. Missouri back in action tomorrow night on the road to take on Alabama. Announced this weekend, tip-off will be moved up to 7 p.m. Also, Charles Bediako available to play following the extension of a restraining order from an Alabama judge. Pre-game begins right here on KTGR at 6:45. Missouri women's basketball winners 81-70 over Texas A&M. Tigers get their second SEC win of the season. Kelly Harper's crew got up to a 21-9 start the first quarter, did not look back. Next up, Sunday against Mississippi State. Pre-game right here at 1:45 on KTGR. Tip-off at 2. Former Ole Miss wide receiver Cayden Lee announced his commitment to Missouri this Saturday. Lee totaled 106 catches, 1,623 yards, and 7 touchdowns for the Rebels this season. Up next, your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'm tracking mostly clear skies tonight as we drop down to about 10 degrees. Wind chills remain in the single digits overnight. Tomorrow we'll see more sunshine. It'll be more tolerable to be outside with high temperatures back into the upper 20s, wind chills in the upper teens. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
The foundation is set.
Missouri knocks off the #1 team in the nation.
The frame is built.
On the run, Mitchell for the flush, Missouri by 20.
And the gates
the habits, the response to detail, the execution, all that stuff matters.
Are open.
Drives right baseline to the rim, jams it as he hangs and got fouled.
This is your radio home for Mizzou basketball.
Cruz, here comes the three. Bang, he splashed it home.
Mid-Missouri's total sports station, KTGR.
Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for Advanced Tree Solutions. They are the tree experts in mid-Missouri. Eric and his team are excellent to work with. I can speak to that from personal experience. We had a dead tree in our yard. We needed it removed. Eric came over, assessed it, gave a fair and honest price, told me the timeline, and he got it done ahead of schedule. And the thing is, you will experience that difference too when you work with him and his team, because they've got two jobs: take care of your trees and take care of you. So they make sure that your trees are safe, that you don't have any hanging branches over power lines and things like that. Plus, they also maintain the health of your trees so that they can grow back stronger once the springtime rolls around. And so go and check out AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com to see their full range of services. And don't forget them as the tree experts in mid-Missouri. They serve Columbia, Jefferson City, and Fulton. Go to AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com and give your trees the care they deserve with Advanced Tree Solutions, your tree's best friend.
I'm Tyler, and I've been a marketing consultant with Zimmer Communications. I joined Zimmer because my background was in helping local businesses grow in their marketing. It's cool working here because I get to work with people that I can actually call my friends, and it's a really encouraging environment. I think the energy is good because we enjoy working together. Everybody on the team brings something unique to the table so that we're building on each other's strengths. It's a great place to be because they give you all the tools you need to be successful.
If you're up for the challenge, apply now at ZimmerCommunications.com.
Hi, my name's Robin Fletcher. I've smoked for 46 years. I went to a seminar in March 27 and seen Mark. My best friend came with me. We both went to it, and neither one of us smoked a cigarette in almost 7.5 months. I took my 3 sisters and my brother-in-law and my sister's best friend and them went. None of them have smoked a cigarette, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
My name is Jen Carpenter. I went to a Mark Patrick seminar, the Stop Smoking, and it worked. A friend of mine also went, and he still no longer smokes, and it was just amazing.
Lose weight or stop smoking with Hypnosis Guaranteed, only $59.99 or your money back. Don't just cut down, but stop smoking once and for all or your money back. Stop Smoking Hypnosis, 8 p.m. on Tuesday, February 3rd at the Capitol Plaza Hotel and Convention Center in Jefferson City, or 8 p.m. on Wednesday, February 4th at the Holiday Inn, Columbia East in Columbia. Registration 30 minutes before. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
With Steve, all I have to do is call. I tell him the problem, he takes care of it. That's the way I like it. A good player that can put it in the basket.
This is Coach Norm Stewart, so you should probably listen to what he has to say about Steve's pest control.
Yeah, during my tenure as a coach, I had a lot of ball players that weren't highly recruited, and that's not to take anything away from their talent, because when they got to Missouri, they became the best. They became the best because they worked at it every day. That's what you'll find with Steve. He works at it continuously. That's what Steve does. He's going to give you his best all the time. He'll take care of the bugs, believe me. He does for me in Columbia, and he does for me at the lake.
This is Steve with Steve's Pest Control. We're going to solve your pest problems. I guarantee it.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business. Steve's Pest Control.
If it's Mizzou sports, it's happening here. Now, back to the big show on KTGR.
I'm so sorry, 9RA. His text. I'm going to be sick watching the Seahawks win in our house. We didn't take care of business, so there we go.
In fairness, I don't think you would have felt a lot better about it that the Rams won last night. You're kind of, either way, you're looking at a division rival playing in your own stadium as a favorite because the Rams would have been favored to beat New England as well.
By the way, quick geography lesson. Those talking about the Super Bowl over the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
It's not in San Francisco.
Santa Clara.
Santa Clara, which if you look at a map, is really not all that anywhere near San Francisco. Takes like an hour and 15 minutes to drive from San Francisco to Santa Clara, which is really a suburb of San Jose.
Yeah, I guess I really never did look at the map. I knew it was in Santa Clara. I never really considered the travel time to do it. Yeah, it is much closer to San Jose than it is San Francisco.
Like all of the folks who will be going to cover the game will probably not fly to the San Francisco airport. They'll probably fly to the San Jose airport. And
I think that's probably right. Yeah. I assume San Jose's got an airport, right? I assume.
Yeah, I think so. It'd be interesting though, like how you treat like things like Radio Row or other stuff. Like, are you going to have it in San Jose or are you going to have it in San Francisco? Because San Francisco is technically the name of the team that is.
I assume it's all going to be local to the stadium, but I would think a lot of that fun stuff happens near the stadium. But I've never been to a Super Bowl to know. So
Radio Row will be in San Francisco at the Moscone
That sounds
Center.
awful. Like
that is crazy.
Yeah. Like, I get it. It somewhat makes sense because that's the city that's on the name of the team, and that's how they identify themselves.
But that's the only reason that it would be there.
Like,
it's just because they never changed the name.
And I know that's not the only case. Like, the Dallas Cowboys don't technically play in Dallas, but Arlington's not, like, it's 30 minutes, not an hour and a half away.
Right. Let me tell you something about the Chiefs here in 5
years.
Well,
I know. I get it. Technically not even... I mean, it's still technically Kansas City from where they're going to be at. Not all that different, but this is just, it's 55 miles away.
Yeah, that's definitely noteworthy. I didn't realize it was basically San Jose. I just don't even know what I thought. I don't venture to California that often, so I hadn't thought much about it.
It's just... I'm sure when they were putting Levi's Stadium in that it was a whole point of consternation over in the Bay Area of how we're identifying the team and where we're putting the stadium, things like that. That has been, bandied about for years and years now. But it's just, again, a reminder that how you identify where the Super Bowl is going to be important. It's not in San Francisco. Probably
it's important if you're going. I don't really care.
Exactly. You're going... Or if you're talking about it and you're trying to be, like correct on a news
I don't care
report
about that
or something
either.
like that.
You know better.
Well,
you know better than that.
No, you don't. But either way, that's the case. By the way, wanted to point this out. Gabe Bjarman of PowerMizzou.com tweeted out in response to Charles Bediako, temporary restraining order being extended by the judge in Tuscaloosa. They can't have the hearing tomorrow because not all the lawyers can get there. And so they're just punting for another 10 days, so he gets to keep playing, and that means he'll suit up against Mizzou. Gabe Bjarman says Dennis Gates should have Demoy Hodge suit up tomorrow. I actually don't think that's a bad idea. Call him up. Probably, even if he's busy, be like, hey, you do a favor for me.
Just see what happens.
Right.
Sticklin and Sticklin help us out with that?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
It is interesting, though. Did you see Dennis Gates' comments? He said, I support Bediako. I'm supporting of all student athletes. Like, is very, like, I guess controversial because I think he's wrong, but it's non-controversial in the way of, his stance isn't specific to Bediako's. I support young men trying to get their educations and be student athletes and play. And so it's very much
he was trying to sit on the fence, I think.
Yeah. He's not on the fence. So he says, like, this is how I feel about it. And there are some things that are changing in our sport and in college athletics, and particularly it's in basketball and football that we're seeing a lot of this, come about. But he took up the stance of saying, not only does he not have a problem with it, but he supports it, which is, interesting because every single coach that Alabama faces while Bediako is eligible is going to have this question come up and have an opportunity to speak on it. I do not agree with Dennis Gates, but I can't necessarily disagree with the reasoning that he gave, which is just like he's pro student athlete. I think that's a farce in the modern era because student athlete's not a real thing, in my opinion. But this man coaches college athletes for a living. Like, he should think that the student athlete thing is real and still believe in the construct. So I don't have a problem with Dennis Gates saying that. I just don't happen to agree with his stance.
Well, again, it's still a reminder, and the Bediako case aside, because he obviously was deserving enough for an NBA team to give him a chance in some fashion. But most of these players don't get that chance, and there's still that type of approach to it that they're maybe trying to use basketball as a chance to set them up for future outside of sports.
How it's supposed to work, but
right,
it just doesn't
is.
feel like anymore we talk as much about that or legitimately hear as much about that. We hear more about Carson Beck bragging about having not taken classes
no
in 2
doubt.
years
And in this
because
sport,
he already graduated.
Yeah, and for Carson Beck, who is going to
Like
have a chance at the NFL level, someone will give him that chance. Like, yeah, that makes more sense than you hear it out of his mouth.
But also, he was a graduate transfer to Miami.
Yeah.
Don't you have to?
He
never took a class
you
there.
You do have to take
he
some.
admitted that he never took a class at the institution.
Or somebody, I don't know. I mean, it's just so tangly. And yeah, the lines are blurred as to what college sports are actually doing for these kids. But yeah, expect that Mizzou will have to deal with Charles Bediako tomorrow for Alabama.
Good luck, Sean Phillips.
Yeah, exactly. We'll talk more about it as we get the lead up to the game. 7 o'clock tip-off tomorrow, up an hour from earlier. So we'll tell us who we got in that one. Thanks for joining us today. We're back at 4 tomorrow. He's Brendan. He's producer Billy. I'm Andy. We're done for now.